Jesus. Was he the first chosen one? Or simply the first to show us what it means to be chosen? Long before his arrival, prophecies spoke of him. Isaiah told of a suffering servant, a redeemer who would come not with golden crowns, but with wounds and compassion. At his birth, there was no palace, only a stable, animals as witnesses, and stars as signs. And yet, the kings came, guided by a light they didn't understand, but felt. This is the first mark of the chosen. They don't need to introduce themselves. The universe recognizes them. In his youth, the stories are few, as if time itself waited for the right moment to awaken him. At 12 years old, we find him in the temple, speaking as if he always knew who he was, where he came from, and why he was here. Then, silence. Again, until he turned 30. The turning point, the true awakening. He sought John, the Baptist, and in the waters of the Jordan, something shifted. As he was baptized, the skies opened, and a voice said, "This is my beloved Son." The mission had begun. But what was that mission? Not just to heal, not just to preach, but to challenge the world, to see beyond the veil. Jesus spoke in parables, because truth cannot be forced. It must be felt, uncovered, lived. He healed with his touch, but also with his gaze. He brought to light what was hidden in each soul. He didn't just see people, he saw destiny. And with that came the weight. Because the chosen are not applauded at first. They are feared, rejected, called mad, dangerous, blasphemous. But Jesus didn't retreat. He walked with sinners, spoke with forgotten women, touched the untouchables. He tore down walls and built bridges. He embodied the archetype of the divine awakening within the human, a being who knew he was more and still walked among us with humility. He didn't need to prove anything, because his very presence said everything. Jesus wasn't just a spiritual leader. He was the mirror of the chosen, one who walks with faith through darkness, who speaks even when no one wants to hear, who loves even when hated, and who dies without losing the light. But he knew, from the beginning, the cross was coming, and still, he continued, because that was the mission. Jesus did not run from the cross. He walked toward it. He knew that every step was a conscious choice. He knew that true power lies not in avoiding pain, but in transforming it. The chosen are not spared from suffering. They transcend it. At the Last Supper, he broke bread and shared not just food, but fate. He revealed the betrayal, announced the separation, and still, he served. That night, in the Garden of Gethsemane, he prayed. But he didn't ask for glory. He asked for strength, for courage, and he said, "Let thy will be done." This is the final surrender of the chosen, when the ego falls silent and the soul takes command. Then came the soldiers, the trials, the lies, the screams of the same crowd that once followed him, now demanded his death. Because the chosen reveal what the world wants to keep hidden, and the world responds. The cross, a symbol of torture, turned into a portal. He was raised between two thieves, and yet, even in agony, he forgave. "Father, forgive them. They know not what they do." To his final breath, he loved, he taught. And then, silence. The earth trembled, the veil of the temple tore, and, for a moment, it seemed it was over. But the chosen never disappear. They only change form. 3 days later, the impossible. The stone was rolled away, the tomb empty. He had returned, but not as before. His body transformed, his presence radiant. Death was defeated. The resurrection wasn't just a miracle, it was a message, a code, a mirror. The path of the chosen is a cycle: death, rebirth, ascension. Jesus did not come only to save, he came to activate, to ignite within us the divine spark, to remind us that the kingdom is not out there. It is here, within, and every chosen one is born with a mission, a wound, a light, and a choice. So, was Jesus the first chosen one, or was he the first to show us what it means to awaken? If you made it this far, it wasn't by accident. Maybe this calling is yours too. Maybe, like him, you feel you were born for something greater, that you carry invisible marks and dreams the world doesn't understand. If so, then listen. And remember, the chosen don't come in crowds. They rise in silence. They walk in shadows and transform everything around them. Jesus may have been the first, but now it's your turn. Awaken. Fulfill your mission. Be the chosen one.